To see you all, and feel free to modify or even bypass anything that we do. You're in charge. You have self-agency. You have choice. So make sure that you're choosing things that support you and create a space for you to be able to move in a range that is comfortable and that is tolerable. Tolerable, I think, is important. That's an important thing for us to consider when we consider discomfort. I would say that probably, as I look around the screen, most of us have some discomfort in our body. And some of us call that pain. Some of us call it other things. I'll just share with you that a year and a half ago, all of a sudden during a run, I was running about 5.5 miles, nothing that is out of the ordinary for me. All of a sudden, my outer left ankle started to bother me. And I had a couple more miles to get back to the car. So I ran on it back to the car. And then by the middle of the day, after that, my ankle was really bothering me on the outer left ankle. And I kept moving on it, and it continued to swell. I ended up bracing it for a short amount of time, doing a lot of rehab on my own. And was never diagnosed by a medical professional, but I believe it was my outer lateral muscle called the fibularis longus tendonitis. And over time, it went away. I had to stop running. I kept loading it, but loading it carefully, doing a lot of rehab. And it seems to be coming right before backpacking comes up here. So I'm noticing it today, and I'm not going to catastrophize. If it swells up and it starts to hurt, I'll just have to change my plans this summer. B, I'm doing a lot of rehab stuff for it on my own already. And C, I'm just going to listen to it. It's a warning sign right now. Doesn't mean there's a injury impending. It just means there's a warning sign. So I just share that with you as I've tried to change the way I look at discomfort in my body. It's not because I'm aging. Maybe it is, but it's not because I did anything wrong. There's just something going on in that left ankle. And so my goal is to make it my friend and to let it know that I'm going to take care of it. So I encourage you to just think about the way you consider discomfort or pain in your body, especially as we're on this trajectory of aging, which we're lucky enough to get to do. In aging, we sometimes lose some capacity. Usually, though, that doesn't mean that it's because we're old. It's because we've typically stopped doing things. And capability is very adaptable. So as we move and we start to work with our bodies in a more regular way, that capability is very adaptable. We are very adaptable human beings, whether that's physical, emotional, or mental. So now that I've given everybody time to click on, let's find a way to sit. I'm going to welcome you. Sit comfortably, change your position as you need to. Don't feel that you have to sit on the floor. You can sit on a piece of furniture. That would be fine. Let your shoulders drop from your ears, just gently. No, nothing aggressive. Recently, we've really been working on this expansiveness of the canister. So when I think about the canister, the bottom of the canister is my pelvic floor. The top of the canister is sort of that area between the top of my shoulder across the base of my throat to the other top of my shoulder. And then the canister wall is everything that is between those two, right? That whole wall of abdomen and ribs and breastbone and shoulder blades and lower back and pelvis. All that is the canister wall. So it's a circumference. And as I take my next inhale breath, I'm going to try to fill that canister. The wall expands. I'm going to pause, make sure I'm not gripping my jaw, and then through the nose, I'm going to exhale. If it feels comfortable, I'll go right back into a longer, deeper breath, an inhale that expands the wall of the canister. So in other words, I'm breathing three-dimensionally. Everything is moving outwards between the base of my throat and the pelvic floor. I'm going to pause, holding the breath comfortably. And I'm going to exhale through the nose if possible. If I have to exhale through the mouth, no, not a problem. Sometimes folks need to take a breath or two or three in between these longer, deeper breaths to reset. That's absolutely fine. One of the things I want you to note is how your shoulder blades are moving. And with this deep intra-abdominal breath, this deep intra-abdominal breathing that we're doing, the shoulder blades actually move slightly apart rather than so much up towards our ears. If you're finding a lot of movement of your shoulder blades up, I want you to pull back on how deep your breathing is, so don't go quite as deep. And really try to feel your abdomen, your lower belly soften and move forward on the inhale. So it's belly, lower abdomen moving first versus shoulders moving first. When the shoulder region lifts up first on an inhale, that's very key information that we're breathing in what's called an apical breathing pattern. And typically that comes from habit. People who are in pain often will do that. They'll shorten their breath and their shoulders will come up towards their ears, and that pain can be emotional or physical. So just really noticing. Can I let the belly be soft and expansive? Can I let the waist be soft and expansive? Can I let the lower back be soft and expansive? Palms of your hands come together at your heart. Bow your head forward. With the neck flex, just notice you can continue to breathe the way we were just breathing, that deep, expansive. Deep is relative, expansive is relative. And then raise and lift your head gently back up. Back neck is long, so as though somebody took the base of your skull and pulled gently upwards, you'll feel that the top throat diagonally moves up towards the base of the skull. Releasing the hands and gently opening your eyes. All right, great. Welcome. So I want to invite those of you who can sit on the floor easily to do so. And what I mean by that is that you're really comfortable sitting on the floor and you're going to put your foot over a block so that your foot is hanging off the block. If you can't sit here for a long period of time without your back starting to ache, or you just really, your back here curved, then you're going to join me on a chair. I'll do the first part on the chair, and then I'll go back down to the floor and show you, wow, my head is cut off. What's going on there? You're going to join me on a chair and you're just going to cross your foot. I'm just using this foot. It doesn't matter which foot it is. Yeah. We're going to work really hard on keeping the shin bone, the tibia, which is attached to the knee, and the thigh, which is attached to both the knee and the hip, very still. And we're just going to move the foot. And we're going to move the foot in what's called circumduction. So it's going to make a circle. It's not going to make a great circle because part of the circle is limited due to the fact that these outer bones come together on our outer ankle. So I want you to dorsiflex your foot, which means bring the top of your foot towards your shin. Yeah. I'm just going to show you kind of the 4 motions that I want you to feel for sure. Dorsiflexion. So if your foot's over the block, that's like this. Yeah. And then plantar flexion, point your toes. Yeah. So you open the front of the ankle. So if your foot's over the block, your foot is pointed, right? And then without turning your knee, I want you to turn the bottom of your foot skyward. Yeah. Good. And then bring the foot back to neutral. And then I want you to turn the bottom of the foot towards the floor. That's the one that's limited. Can you feel how it gets a little pinchy here on that outer ankle? Yeah. All right. So we're going to hit all 4 of those points, but we're going to do it circularly. So if I'm sitting, I'm going to start in dorsiflexion. Yeah. I'm going to turn the bottom of the foot towards the sky. If my foot's over the block, it's not towards the sky. It's towards away from the midline of your body. Right. And then from there, I'm going to point my foot and circle it into plantar flexion. So if I'm sitting, I'm like this. If I'm sitting with my foot and my knee extended, I'm going to take the outer border of my foot and turn it away from my body. If I'm sitting in the chair with my knee bent, I'm going to turn the bottom of my foot more towards the floor, and then I'm going to bring the foot back to dorsiflexion. Then I'm going to do that again. Turn the bottom of the foot skyward or inward if your leg is long. Move from there to a pointed ankle. Circle around. Now take this outer border of your foot and pull it around into dorsiflexion. Now, do that again. Bottom of the foot towards the sky or bottom of the foot in towards the midline of your body. Pointing from there. Carry it around. This is the place that has very limited motion as you pull the outer border of your foot towards your knee a little bit, back to dorsiflexion. Now we're going to go the other way. We're going to turn the bottom of the foot away from the body, or in our case of sitting, down towards the floor. We're going to pull around into plantar flexion. Take the bottom of the foot skyward, or if you're on the floor and your foot's over a block, towards the center line of your body, and back in towards dorsiflexion. 2 more times, really slowly. So I think the main issue that happens with this circumduction, these big circles, is that people go too fast. And when they go too fast, they miss all those little bits and pieces that are kind of the hard places to get through circularly. So if you move really slowly, you're creating a greater range of motion in the ankle. Yep. And in mobility, what we're looking for is what muscles, and we don't need to know this, what muscles shorten and what muscles lengthen, right, at a joint. Okay. And coming back into that dorsiflexion. Okay, good. Those of you sitting in a chair, stay in the chair. I'm just going to move to the floor so I make sure that I demo both ways of working. So second foot's going to come over the block, or it's going to come over your knee. Yep. We're going to start in dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion is pulling the top of your foot towards your shin as you're standing on your foot. Then we're going to go to plantar flexion. Think ballerina, right? You're pointing your toes. Going to relax the foot. Now we're going to turn the bottom of the foot. If you're sitting on the ground, it turns in towards the midline of your body, but your leg doesn't turn out. If you're sitting on a chair with your foot crossed, the bottom of the foot turns skyward. Relax that. Now we're going to go the opposite direction. So we're taking the pinky side of the foot and we're turning it out away from the midline of our body. Or if you're sitting in a chair with your knee bent, you're turning up towards the sky more. And that one's more limited. Yep. Okay. Dorsiflex. Turn the bottom of your foot inwards or towards the floor. Point your toes, circling around, trying to keep the knee and the hip from doing much motion. Go very slowly through here. Now, from the pointed foot, you're going to take your baby toe side of your foot and you're going to pull it around and back into dorsiflexion. And again, you're going to turn the bottom of your foot floorwards or inwards. Point your toes. There might also, I didn't say this, but there might be a lot of crackling. There might be a lot of sound in your ankle. Sound does not necessarily correlate to injury, okay? And we're going to do the third one. Again, we're moving super slowly so that we can really, really affect what muscles are lengthening, what muscles are shortening to put the foot through basically these 4 positions and everything in between the 4 positions. Okay, back to dorsiflexion. Make sure your leg isn't rolling. Now we're going to turn the outer border, the pinky side of the foot upwards. So the bottom of the foot is going to turn down towards the floor, or if you're like I'm doing, turning away from the body. Don't have much there. From there, I'm going to point, reaching. Now, without turning my thigh or my knee, I'm going to turn the bottom of my foot skyward or in towards the center line, depending on my relationship to sitting, and then back into dorsiflexion. Yep. Really look at your foot. Is it really the foot moving around? This is my second circle, moving around the 2 lower leg bones, or are you doing a lot of moving from the knee and the hip as well? Yep. And we'll do one more of those, nice and slow. Reaching. Yeah. And if you've been doing yoga, doing movement with me for a lot of years, you know that we spend a lot more time on the feet than we used to. Good. All right. Well done. Okay. I'm going to have you come to standing, please. That was ankle circumduction, basically ankle circling. I do not know what's going on with my camera, but it's certainly cutting off my head today. Let's Let's go up a little bit. So I want to encourage you to hold a chair or go to a wall. Yep. Basically, because I want you to really be able to concentrate on your feet. You may lose my head here, but that's not important. It's really my feet. I'm going to put my feet in a parallel position. Yeah. My knees are going to be gently extended, meaning they're lengthened, but they're not locked backwards in hyperextension. Hands at the wall or hands on the chair, or hands on a piece of furniture. You're going to really come up with your heels as high as you can. And then you're going to release the heels down very slowly. Pause, make sure your inner and outer heel are solidly on the ground and that you're stacked above your pelvis and your heels, that you're not forward or back. You're going to do that again. Come up. Toes are very spread on the floor. You're not gripping with your toe tips. Slowly release the heels down. And as the heels come down, you're going to feel the inner and outer heel really soften into the earth. Stack everything above those feet. Yeah. Going to do it again. You're going to come up, pause, and then a slow release down. On the way down is when we get that stretch. We get that eccentric lengthening of our calf muscles. Yeah, we're going to do that again. Come up. Is your weight even from the big toe to the baby toe? And are you really above your feet or are you slightly forward? And then slow on the way down, releasing the inner and the outer heel solidly. Again, up. Good. So I'm seeing a lot of shifting forward in that up and slow on the way down. So use your hands a little more dynamically. And this time, as you go up, try to go up as though you were a marionette with a string at the crown of your head. Up. Yeah. Pause. And then straight on down. We're going to do 3 more of those. Up. Pause. Question sometimes is, why would I do this if I already feel like I have tight calves? That's a good question, right? Because certainly this up here makes the calves contract. But this down, even if you don't feel it as a stretch, this down slowly with control is super important for stretching that Achilles tendon and how it attaches to the 2 lower leg bones. Okay, well done. So you're still at a wall or you're at a chair. You can use the chair seat. That would be fine. Take a blanket or a towel and roll it up long. Yep. So I've got a nice long, thick roll. If you're using the back of a chair, know that it's less stable. It can fall towards you. Yep. You can also use the seat. Although we're really thinking calves here, I'm going to take the rolled blanket and I'm going to pull it back from the wall. If I'm using a wall, I'm going to be at a 90-ish degree angle. Or I'm going to put it back from my chair. I'm going to bring the balls of my feet up on the rolled blanket so my heels are down. Then you'll have to play with, you may have to stop and readjust your distance away from the wall or the chair. So first, just when you're standing with your balls of your feet and your toes up on the rolled blanket and your heels down, I just want you to notice that some of us will feel stretch here in the lower leg. Some of us won't. And some of us will feel a little less stable and some of us won't. That's okay. Just be mindful of your balance. And then I'm going to reach forward. My chair is not far enough forward, so I'm going to reset immediately. I'm going to reach forward and try to keep my heels down and my knees more or less long. So if you're having a hard time keeping your knees extended, come up a little bit with your trunk. Don't go over as far. I think it's important to try to keep the knees extended because now you're stretching the muscle back there called your gastrocnemius. That's that big double-headed muscle. When your knees are bent, everybody go ahead, bend your knees towards your toes, but keep your heels where they are. That really takes it down a little lower into the gastrocnemius and into the soleus around the Achilles. Both are really worth doing, right? So let's go back to a more lengthened leg. When you do that, you may have to press up a little bit with your trunk and not be so flexed over so that the hamstring is not as involved. And then let your knees translate forward toward your toes and your butt back a little bit, and you're going to feel that potentially a little lower in your calf. Yeah, and around the Achilles tendon a little more. No doubt some of you are going to feel a strong, strong stretch in your hamstrings and even over the sits bones into the glutes. Those muscles are being lengthened here. Going to go again into a lengthened knee. Yeah, push the ball of the foot down even though the heels are really in the ground. Make sure you haven't rolled to the baby toe side of your foot. You're really equal over the big toe to the baby toe. And then one more time, knees translate forward. Now, when knees translate forward, meaning they flex, they bend, pelvis shifts back in response. Not down, but back. Yeah. That should be a nice soleus stretch. Good, good. Okay. You may want to just use the chair or the wall, step over the blanket. That'll help your balance a little bit more and come on up. Then I want you to just stand for a moment and notice your feet and notice any sensation in the back of your lower leg. I have a lot of sensation there. Some of you won't. That's okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. Again, I want to really encourage fall prevention, right? So we're working on the risk of falling, preventing the risk of falling. So some of you will want to be very close to a wall. You're going to take your rolled blanket. And some of you won't. Some of you have a really incredible in the middle of the room balance, right? I'm going to step, my blanket keeps unrolling. I'm going to step my left foot up onto the blanket, spread my toes. And then I'm going to put my right foot in front of my left foot and spread my toes and try to shift my weight so that I'm holding myself on this thing that is rocking and rolling a little bit. And I'm going to try to balance. Now, what will happen here as you're balancing and the right foot is in front of the left is you've created a very narrow foot position. And that narrow foot position, even standing on the floor, is a lot of work. So some of you might want to have your hands close to something so you can reach out. Yep. And it's a little bit, it's moving a little bit, right? It's shifting a little bit. So the intrinsic foot muscles, all the muscles in your foot, intrinsic in the foot, and your extrinsic foot muscles, all the muscles outside of your foot that play on your foot, like your calves, all the ankle area, they're all having to turn on and off and on and off and on and off and on and off as you are working with your proprioception. Yeah. So if your hand is at the wall or helping you, that's great, but can you lighten it up and do just a little bit more? And then Emily and others, can you bring your feet closer together, which is going to make it much harder. So your heel is really right in front of your toes. Great, Liz. I want you to try to lengthen your knees now. And Maddie, I love that your knees are lengthened, but don't hyperextend them. Yeah, good. All right, well done. Come on off. Redo your blanket. So that, because it's already a little smashed, right? And then you're going to step, when you're ready, you're going to step your right foot up because that was the foot that was in front. And then your left foot in front, and try to have your left foot as close to your right foot as possible. Yeah. Then again, many of us want to be close to a wall so that if we lose our balance, we can fall into the hand at the wall. Right. And your tendency is going to be back in that back foot. Try to get your body weight over both feet. Yeah. And then likewise, try not to grip with your toe tips. Try to keep your toes nice and long, right? And I can just tell you as I look at the screen that almost everybody is swaying back and forth. The people who aren't doing a lot of swaying back and forth are the people who are using their arms really strongly to help balance, right? So there's a lot of sway, that side to side sway. That side to side sway is how people typically fall. Most people, I can tell you, because I just did it when I was in England, is if you catch your foot on a root while you're running, you're probably going to fall forward. But most of us, when we actually fall, there'll be a lateral shift. There'll be a fall to the side, which is why people break their collarbone or break their wrist or break their hip because they land on that leg, or their ankle twists or they roll their ankle. Lateral is sort of how we fall. So we're training that lateral stability. That's what we're training here. Yeah. Nice catch, everyone. Okay, come on down. Beautiful. Grab your chair, can be a counter or a wall, that's fine. Choose wisely, because some of you will need the chair seat because you have a lot of flexibility or length in your calves and your hamstrings. Others don't. And please take a half standing forward bend. In the half standing forward bend, I'm going to demo this with my hands on the back of the chair. I'm going to press down with my hands on the back of the chair. My wrists are long. That's one of the reasons using the chair is nice, is you don't have to go into wrist extension. My feet are open about hip width. My big toe to my baby toe are broad. I'm not gripping the ground with my toe tips. I'm going to press the inner and outer heel down. I'm looking for knee extension, meaning my knee is long. But again, if I'm one of those people that loves to throw my knees back behind the line of the ankle, I'm going to be careful that I'm not hyperextending. I'm going to work to feel that foot as an even source on the ground. What does that mean? You could think of the tripod, big toe to baby toe, middle of the heel, like you're standing on a triangle. You can also think of it as a rectangle, big toe to baby toe, outer heel, inner heel. Spine is lengthened, and we're in a sustained forward bend. Okay, good. Walk your feet in. So you're going to use your chair seat or you're going to use your blocks. Well, who would use the chair seat? People who are a little more bound in their hamstrings and their calves than using the blocks. I'll use both. I'll show you. So we're going to get into a forward bend where we're a little more now flexed forward towards our feet. Yeah. So my spine is going to be a little rounder. Right? So if I'm on my blocks, I'm here. Yeah, if I'm on the chair, my hands. But I want your legs to widen. I want one of your knees to be able to lengthen or almost lengthen all the way. The next thing we're going to do is called elephant walk. So keeping our feet grounded, we're going to bend one knee towards the toes and sit back a little bit in the opposite hip. Meaning as I bent my right knee, my left butt moved back. And then I'm going to change that. I'm going to send my left knee, it doesn't have to be your left knee, by the way, but the other knee, which is my left knee, forward towards my toes, and my right butt moves back a little bit. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to send the opposite knee forward, straighten the other leg, and send that hip back. And I'm going to make sure it's happening from my foot and pelvis, not my kneecap hyperextending back. And then I'll change. Yeah, so we're changing the length tension on the calves, on the tissues behind the knee, on the hamstrings, which are the muscles on the back of your leg, up into the glutes and even over into the lower back. Because as we shift nice and slowly, one knee forward, one hip back, the pelvis goes into a side bend, right? As my left knee goes forward, my left pelvis shifts up a little bit towards my ribs. My right pelvis moves away from my right ribs. So notice that this act of bending your knee plays with the foot, the ankle, the hip, the lower back, and the trunk. Do a couple more. Good. So many of you have had enough now. The hamstrings are said, that's enough. So come up to standing. Anybody who wants to do a traditional Uttanasana, standing forward bend for just a few breaths, go ahead and do that. You don't need to. If your hamstrings and your calves are really experiencing a lot of, we're at our tolerance, we can't do any more, then come up to standing. We'll join you in a moment. In your standing forward bend, make your feet active. Draw the knees long without sending them backwards. Move the pelvis over the tops of the thighs. And then those of you who are not standing yet, hands to pelvis, press your feet, come on up. Good. And then just once more, stand for a moment and feel bottoms of the feet on the ground. Buttocks is released. It doesn't need to be contract here. Push the feet through the floor a little bit. Let the collarbones be broad without rolling your shoulders back. Let the arms release from your shoulders down towards your fingers. So the weight of the arm is heavy. And just notice. Okay. I'm going to set the chair up. This would be for those of you who might need to think about your balance a little bit more. The back of the chair or the wall is going to be by my left hand. Okay. I'd like people to try this without having their hand on something. That being said, you always have my permission to use something to help you balance, right? Especially That is one of the things that really changes in our aging process is our balance does really change. And it doesn't mean that we can't, again, capability is adaptable. We are making change to that balance system. But it's true, I can tell you as I'm aging that my balance is really changing. So, left side, if you're using something as balance, it's going to be on your left side, whether that's a chair or a wall, a piece of furniture. If you're not using something as balance, you're going to put your hands on the sides of a block. Yeah. If you know that you're probably going to need your hand, because we're going to one leg, you're probably going to need your hand on something, then I want you to not hold the block. Okay. You may have to decide after we start. So I'm holding the block. I'm going to do basically as a forward bend or a Romanian deadlift on my left leg. So I'm going to lift my right leg behind me, bend my left knee a little bit and hip hinge and press the block down to about shin height. And then I'm going to come back up to standing and place my right foot on the floor. Yeah. So if I'm holding on with my left hand for balance, I'm just going to make a fist with my right hand, and we're going to do that again. It's a forward bend. It's a bend of my pelvis over the tops of my thigh, and then it's a stand all the way back up. If you're using your left hand on something, it is very light. Really work on that left leg. Again, we go over, make sure it's not a squat, make sure it's a deadlift, so it's a hip hinge, and then we come back up. Vastly harder to do it with a block between your hands and control the balance element over that left leg. And then pushing through the left foot to come all the way back up to standing with both feet on the ground. Let's do that 3 more times. Over, you want to make sure that it is your hip, so it's your pelvis hinging over the top of that thigh, and then push to come up. Now let's go 2 more times. Up, over, good. So the people who have really loose hamstrings, make sure the knee is bending forward a little bit. And those of you who have very tight hamstrings or tight feeling hamstrings, go over not so far in your trunk. Make sure you're not squatting the knee. The knee bends enough to let the hip move and then come all the way back up. Good. You should feel hamstrings there. Yeah? I'm hoping you feel hamstrings. Here we go, second side. So again, those of you using something for balance, I really encourage that. If you feel safer that way and feels like it's really the right thing, have your right hand next to it. Okay, so can I show something? Watch. I don't want the dancers in the room to do a straight leg. Oh, look what I'm doing here, right? I really want you to get this hip hinging. That's super important. So in order to do that, the knee translates forward a little bit as the pelvis rolls over the top of the thigh. So this is the position I want you in, not locked out straight leg. I really want that mobility of the pelvis over the thigh to happen before you come back up to standing. Here we go. Block in the hand. I start to shift my body weight over that right foot. Do you have your trunk over the ball of the right foot, or have you gone back into your heel? And then I'm going to stand back up. Again, if I'm using my right hand on the chair or the wall, I'm just going to make a light fist with my left hand. I'm going to keep my right hand very, very soft. And I'm really trying to tax the control, the motor control of my right hip joint, right pelvis, rolling over top of right thigh. And then pushing the right foot into the floor to stand all the way back up. Should feel muscular. So it might feel stretchy, but it should feel very muscular. Like I'm using muscles to get into the stretch. I'm not using gravity by just hinging forward. Yeah. And you're going to find, this is my leg. I just had to put my right hand out. That one leg may feel less secure than the other. This is definitely the one for me. Now we're going to do about 3 more of those. I'm going to watch. So hip over, pelvis over, top of thigh, right foot on the ground, and then use that right leg to stand all the way back up. Good. Less rounding in the back, more pelvis over the thigh. Doesn't mean you go any lower. Means you have to really think, can I keep my spine long and can I keep my arms long? I'm holding that block long and down in front of me like I was holding a kettlebell. Yep, one more. Now the single leg deadlift, basically. Good. Nice, and back up. Excellent. Okay, so come down to the ground now, grab your yoga belt. Those of you who would like to have a blanket under your head, feel free to do that. Fold it in half and put it under your head. So what we just did was a lot of dynamic, and dynamic means we're moving in and out of something, a lot of dynamic balance, and a lot of dynamic movement for the ankle, calf, knee, hamstring, hip, glute. Now we'll do it passively. Bend both knees, put your feet on the floor. I'm going to encourage you to find a lower back position that's neutral for you. So if you push the navel into the ground, you're going to tuck your pelvis. If you pop your ribs up towards the sky, you're going to tilt your pelvis in the other direction towards the back bend. Find somewhere in between there. So you're resting in the middle of your back pelvis. Your lower back does not have to be pressed into the floor. It will now move to the floor a little more simply because of this hip flexion. We started that dynamic hamstring activity on the left leg. So take your belt over the bottom of your left foot. I'm going to wrap the belt around my hands and lengthen my left leg to the sky. I'm going to look for a lengthened left knee. I'm going to let my hands hang from the loops I've created in the belt, and I'm going to drop my arm bones into the trunk, basically into the shoulder joint, so that my trunk really gets flush with the floor. The backs of my shoulders are dropping towards the floor. I'm going to look at my left knee and see whether I can lengthen it. If you can't lengthen your knee, you're going to now let your leg move away from you a little bit. Try to get a lengthened knee. My suggestion, it's only a suggestion, has to do with biomechanics. If your left leg is not kind of straight up from your pelvis, then don't lengthen the right leg. If your left leg is pretty just directly vertical up from your pelvis, then consider lengthening your right leg. And we do this not because it's the right thing that we were taught to do in yoga. This is the right way to do Supta Panagustasana. We do this because it takes into account what our hip joints in relationship to our lower back and our upper middle back can actually do. We own the range of motion. So doing something right or wrong, because I get asked that a lot, is this right, is this wrong? Really, can you own the range? Right? Can you lengthen the left knee? Can you push the left heel to the sky? Can you pull the top of the left foot back towards your shin before you lengthen that right leg out? All right. Take the belt off the bottom of your left foot. Point the toes gently. Left leg is up in the air. You're holding it there. Keep your rib cage to your pelvis very still. And lower your left leg towards the ground. As the left leg gets closer to the ground, you're going to have to work the core. You're going to have to work the center a little bit more. At the bottom, completely relax as though you were going to do Shavasana. Notice how your legs tend to roll out there. With both legs long and the legs being relaxed, you'll also notice that typically most of us will have a little more back bend in our lumbar spine. Okay. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. You may need to adjust your back pelvis. You may need to adjust your shoulders, your neck, your head. Excuse me. Take your right leg up. You can place a belt over the bottom of your right foot. And you're going to reach up with your hands, wrap the belt around your hands so they're in loops. First things first, get those arms lengthened. And as you do that, you'll be pulling down on the belt. And then press your right heel up to the sky, away from the back of your knee, and pull the top of your right foot towards your kneecap. Yep, so you're active in the calf muscle. And then look at your right knee. Is it lengthened or is it bent? So it's not wrong to have it bent. But why don't we let the leg move away from us a little bit and see if we can straighten the leg versus thinking, my leg has to be straight up or I'm not doing this right. And then taking into consideration everything I've already said, do you want to lengthen your left leg or not? And then let's go back and find that breath we found together at the beginning of class as we expand the wall of the canister with the inhale. We pause. And then we deflate, basically. We let our bodies exhale as fully as possible and we pause. Now, we're going to hold that several more times. So again, those of us who are really flexy in our hamstrings, we almost have to apply a little bit more of a muscular action here, really making sure quadriceps are keeping that knee engaged. And those of you who are just a little less, what we might call a little less flexy feeling in that hamstring, you're going to have to work to lengthen that knee. We all have a variety of things that we can consider because we're all very, very different, trying to do the same action. Okay, go ahead and take the belt off. Point your toes gently. Yep. And lower the leg slowly. And as you do that, you're going to have to pull in, what we call the abdominal core, which, by the way, is working for you all the time. Good. When it gets to the bottom, at the bottom, relax your legs. Some of you aren't there yet, and that's fine. Relax your legs and just feel how typically the legs will roll open a little bit. They'll roll off to the sides a little bit, external rotation, and your lower back will arch a little bit more because the weight of the legs is pulling your pelvis with them. Okay. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. Take your arms up to the sky. Fingertips basically pointing towards the sky. Okay, stabilize pelvis. Bring your right leg up into dead bug position. Okay, so here's where we really notice. Can I stabilize rib cage to pelvis and bring my left leg up without hiccuping the pelvis? Now, this is a brain game as well as anything else. Rib cage stays aligned with pelvis. Right arm and left leg move. Right arm moves back by your ear as the left heel comes down towards the ground. And then left leg and right arm come back up. And then left arm comes back by ear as right heel comes down towards the ground. Towards the ground is key there. And then right leg comes back up with the left arm. Okay, let's pause for a second. Please don't let your rib cage pop up towards the sky. Please don't let your pelvis wink. Keep your pelvis still. Right arm, left leg. Slowly. Right arm, left leg, come back up. Left arm, right leg. Left arm, right leg. Now notice, are you keeping the other two appendages still? Right arm, left leg. Left arm and right leg stay absolutely still and in the place they were in. And then back up. If they don't, that could be brain activity, left arm, right leg. Yeah. It could also be that you don't have the mobility and strength to lower as much as you're lowering. Now, some of you are straightening the leg. You can do that. That's fine. But you got to control that center. Yeah. So continuing, basically what we're doing in dead bug position here, and this upside down all fours position is we're doing bird dog. Yeah. One more time, right arm, left leg. One more time, left arm, right leg. So everybody's going to get to that place at a different time. When you finish that, both sides again one time, then pull your knees into your chest. Yeah. Give them a hug in and just roll gently side to side. Yeah, good. All righty. I encourage you to roll to the side that's not the most natural and bring yourself on and up. We're going to come on to all fours now. So again, wrists become tired. They start to talk to people sometimes. So if they do, feel free to come down to your forearms. You can do this from your forearms. That's fine. I'm on all fours. Crown of the head to the tailbone. I'm going to try to create a long line from the crown of the head to the tailbone So I am keeping my lower ribs, both front and back, aligned with the top of my pelvis. I'm not going into a deep back arch. I'm also not going into a deep back rounding. I'm going to release the right hand and the left knee 1 inch off the ground and hold and pause. That means I'm going to press into the left hand and the right knee in the top of the right foot. I'm going to release the right hand and the left knee and the top of the left foot down. I'm going to exchange that left hand and right knee and right foot come off the ground, and I hold and pause. Now I'm going to bring those back down. Right? I'm going to lift again, right hand and left knee. Now this time, very slowly, I'm going to reach the right arm forward and the left leg back. Exactly what we just did lying on our back, but now we're having to work against gravity and come back in slowly. Move slowly enough that you can really feel yourself having to manage the balance, having to manage the tendency to start moving the spine as a compensatory mechanism. Spine stays still. Arm and leg move. This is core training. After this third one, I'm going to slowly bring it back in. I'm going to bring the right hand, the left knee, and the top of the left foot down. Now I'm going to shift the left hand, which could also be your left forearm if you don't want to be on your hand, right knee, right foot. Slowly out, pausing, and slowly back in. Can you keep your spine super still? Nice, Mary Lois. Can you keep yourself from shifting to the right or the left? Some of you are starting to really speed up. We're starting our third one here, nice and slow. Yep, those of you who aren't even starting your third one yet, good for you. Good, everyone. Nice. We're going to go from here to down dog. Some of you like to do down dog with your hands on a chair, so just transfer to that. Walk your feet back, arms pressing forward and down. Bypass down dog if you don't like it. You can go to half standing forward bend. We did that earlier in class with the hands on the back of the chair at the wall. And let's go ahead and do our elephant walks here. Press your right heel towards the ground. Release the left heel up. Bend your left knee. Press the left heel towards the ground. It may not go to the ground. Bend your right knee. You'll feel your pelvis shift a little bit. Do that again. Right heel presses towards the ground. Left knee bends. Notice how your weight shifts a little to the right. Left heel down. Right knee bends. Notice how your weight shifts a little bit to the left. That's fine. Yep. And again, we go over towards the right, slowly, generously pushing back from the fingers, back from the palms, and then over left heel towards the ground, right knee bends. Pause. Yeah. And then let's go both feet similar. Yeah, push back, please, deeply. Take breaks if you need to. If you need to come out of this, come out of it. That's okay. Yeah. And then those of you who are having a hard time lengthening your spine, I want you to bend your knees and lift your heels and push your pelvis back, please. So your spine is really long. Good. Excellent. All right, come on down to your knees. Open your knees about mat width. Sorry, I'm going to fix my microphone again. It keeps falling open. And then my sound changes here. We're going to pull into a wider knee child's pose called Mandukasana. So my knees are not quite out to the edges of my mat. Tops of the feet are on the floor, and I've pulled my buttocks back. Pulling my buttocks back is going to be different for everyone. Some of you will sit your buttocks to your heels. Some of you will be forward a little bit on your knees. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can do this, Maureen, you can do this standing at the wall, and I'll show that in a moment, or standing without a wall. We're going to take our arms forward and out, and we're going to side bend to the right. So we're going to walk our arms over to the right. I'm going to pull my right hand back a little bit and really stretch my left arm. So this is a side bend. So if bending the knees is an issue today, yeah, then you can come up to a wall, put your arms up the wall and side bend at the wall. Or you could stand. I'm going to kneel because my camera. You could stand and you can just side bend with both arms and really get that deep side bend. You don't have to do this from a child's pose. Yeah. Reach that left arm. Good. And then come across and go to the opposite side. So you're going to just bring yourself over to the left, slide the left hand back and reach that right arm forward and out. Again, this can be done standing as a deep, deep side bend with arms overhead. Helping to open up the side of the space between the vertebra on the right side. Yeah. Remember that one of the things that absolutely happens just because we've been in our bodies for a long time is the disc between the vertebra does start to get a little shorter. That's why people tend to lose a little bit of height as they age. And we're trying to move the spine in all its potential movements so that we can keep the pressure on the disc changing constantly. Side bend, forward bend, back bend, twist. And come on back and up. Okay, we're going to do that all fours bird dog again, but we'll make it harder. Grab your 2 blocks. You could say, that was hard enough. Don't grab your 2 blocks. Again, I'm just going to say it and you can make a choice or not. Your left forearm can be on the block. It doesn't have to be your hand. So I'm going to put the blocks in such a way that when I take my all fours, my right lower leg is on the block and my left hand is on the block. Again, don't want to rest on your hand, come down to your left forearm. And then I'm going to push myself off the ground with my right hand, my left leg. So now I'm balancing on the blocks. Right arm, left leg moving out. Right arm, left leg moving in. Right arm, left leg moving out. Don't have your right toes on the ground. Right arm, left leg moving back in. So now we've added this element of balance. Right arm, left leg moving out. Right arm, left leg moving in. Release the right hand and the left leg and change the blocks. Yeah. Again, make choices, wise choices for yourself. Maybe you just bird dog again with your hands on the ground. Maybe you just get that right forearm or hand on the block, that left lower leg on the block, and you just try to balance your right leg and your left hand off the ground. Yeah. And as you can, left arm and right leg. This side is much harder for me. And back in. It's not surprising. So we're working with the diagonals here from front shoulder to opposite hip, both in the front and the back body. And again, left arm and right leg out. And left arm and right leg in. Good. Release the hands. Come off the blocks. Okay. Take your blocks forward. You may need, I'm really struggling with my microphone, you guys. I'm sorry. You may need a blanket for your knee. That's fine. I'll put it here in demo. I'm going to take my right leg forward and my left leg back. I'll tell you now, those of you who are struggling with toe issues, when we go to a straight leg Parsvottanasana, scissored stance, feel free to come back into this half Hanuman instead, because that way you can keep the top of the foot flat on the floor and you don't have to tuck your toes. Most of you have been doing this with me recently. So we've got the right knee above the right heel. My right shin is more or less vertical. My left leg is back. My left knee is padded. I've got hands on blocks. Blocks can be high. Yeah, I'm going to watch the weight in my hands because that's where I'll tend to start compensating, is by using my arms a little bit. Okay, so you've heard me use the word translate. The shin bone translates. It moves forward, carrying my right knee towards my toes. That pulls my pelvis forward, but I'm not sinking from my pelvis. And then I tuck my back toes if I can, and I push back into a scissored stance, Parsvottanasana, but don't expect that left heel to go to the ground. Right foot is in front of you. Make the right toes broad. Press the left inner heel downwards, even if it's not on the ground. Mine's not on the ground. And look at your front right ankle and make sure that you're not rolling to the outside. Now imagine you're going to scrape the ball of your right foot against the ground. Bring your left knee down to the ground. Toes can relax or stay tucked. Bring your right arm, because the right leg is forward, along the inside of your right lower leg and curl inwards. That's deep spinal flexion. Push up from the left hand like you're doing a side plank and twist up to the right. And then turn back down towards the floor. Change legs, right leg back, left leg forward. Start in a lunge with your left knee above your left ankle. Your right leg is long behind you. Toes are relaxed. Press down into your left foot. Translate. Shift the left shin bone forward so that we're going into dorsiflexion of the ankle as well as deep knee flexion towards the toes. This pulls your pelvis forward. Curl your back toes against the floor. Use your legs rather than your hands to come towards that Parsvottanasana. It's a wide Parsvottanasana, so don't expect the heel to go to the ground in the back foot. Keep the back foot very parallel. Descend the energy of the right inner heel. That's your back foot. Spread the left toes. Now, rather than, again, pushing down with the hands, pull with the bottom of your left foot to bring you back into a lunge. Toes can stay tucked or relaxed. Left forearm comes down along the inner left leg. Curl in. That's a deep spinal flexion. Push from the right hand like you were doing side plank and twist up like you were doing revolve triangle. Turn back down, change sides. I'm having you change sides in between because movement transition in between is super important for us. Yeah. Changing our relationship with the world around us, constantly moving. Shift your right knee forward. Keep your right heel down so you can get that Achilles stretch. Back toes are tucked. Push the ball of the right foot into the ground. Stretch your legs long or pull back to half Hanuman. How's the weight in your hands? Can you get the weight into your legs? Descend the left inner heel. Imagine that you're scraping your right foot back towards the backside of your mat to bring your left knee down. Bring your right arm to the inside of your right lower leg, foot. Push from the left arm, twist up to the right. Drop that left shoulder out of your ear and bring the right hand down. Good, change sides. Okay, I'm going to clarify on this side which way we're twisting. Left leg is forward, right leg is back. So front leg, back leg. Front leg, you're going to shift that knee forward towards your toes. That will also take you into what feels like a deeper stretch of your right hip. Yep. And then using the front foot, push back into Parsvottanasana. Keeping the front foot really working down, toes spread, press the back inner heel towards the ground. Now pull against your yoga mat with your left foot to bring, or your front foot to bring the back knee down. The same arm as the knee that's bent in front. Bring that arm along the inside of that foot that's in front of you, not the opposite. Now push and twist towards the bent knee to twist up. Twisting away from it wasn't wrong. I just saw it happening. And then come on down. And we're going to change sides one more time. We're going to add something to this, though, to make it a little more exciting. Right leg forward, left leg back. Okay, easy in your hands. Shift your right knee forward towards your toes. Yep, tuck your back toes and lengthen your legs. Good. Really work the right big or the front foot metatarsal down, big toe, press the inner heel. Now twist up into revolve triangle, turning the right side of the body up if your right leg is forward. Push up from the left hand so you're not just dropping down into it. And then come back into the lunge, turning back down. Yep. Now take the right arm to the inside of the right foot. That's your front foot, same arm. And then turn again towards that right leg, like a revolved triangle in a lunge. Yep. And then bring that right hand down. You got it. And change sides. Last time. Looking good. Left leg forward, right leg back. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Shift your knee forward. I want your knee to be able to flex deeply forward towards a squat position with your heel down. Push from the bottom of that foot. Lighten up your hands, please. Yeah. Descend the energy of the back heel. It's probably not going to be on the ground. And then twist up towards that front leg in a revolved triangle. Back heel will probably be off the ground. Keep the big toe of the back foot down. Bring that left arm, that front arm down. Pull yourself back to a lunge and then take that left arm, same arm as front foot, come down along that inner foot and then push up into a revolved lunge. Good. Bring your left hand down. Okay, walk your left foot back a little bit. Yep. Push up and bring your right foot forward so that it is in line with your left foot. Release the blocks. Knees are bent. Feet are flat. Buttocks is coming down towards a squat. Raise your body into Utkatasana. You do not have to take your arms by your ears. You can reach them in front of the body. Yep. Sit down. This is very different than a hinge. Yep. My trunk is up. I'm sitting. There is deep, deep knee flexion towards my toes. There's a press in my inner heels. And stand on up. Good. Relax your hands. Really feel that sense of standing on two legs with released hands, released shoulders. Good. Okay. I want you to come down onto your back, please. Have your blocks close by. I would suggest that you don't add height under your head for this. We're going to start without the blocks. Knees bent, feet on the floor. Walk your heels back towards your buttocks. So when I think back to being a yoga student from various teachers and being a teacher who was pretty mired in what the rules were rather than what I've learned to, how I've learned to teach is it's all relative. Because we all have different bodies and different experiences with our bodies. We all have two ankles, but they're really different ankles. And those two ankles in my own body are two different ankles. So one rule, one thing doesn't fit all, which is why I think the hardest question I have to answer regularly from people is, am I doing this right? What does that mean? So heels move back towards the buttocks. Feet are as wide as you would like them to be. Find a comfortable position. Press your arm bones down. Press your palms and fingers down. Find the four corners of your feet. Push from your legs and lift your pelvis towards bridge pose. Please don't roll your arms underneath you right now. Just press straight down into the ground. Yep. So I'm not trying to create a deeper bridge pose by rolling my arms underneath like I might do in a shoulder stand. Instead, I'm trying to find a pelvis lifting using my glutes and my hamstrings and the pressure of my feet into the ground, all the while using my arms to help me not push myself back towards my head, but up towards the sky. Yep. And then come on down. Draw your right knee into your chest, stretch your left leg out, take a break. Long, deep inhale. Long, deep exhale. Change legs, left leg comes in, right leg goes out. Long, deep inhale. Long, deep exhale. Good. Place the feet again. You find a distance away from your buttocks and a part that feels comfortable for you. Now, make I am a robot arms. So bend your elbows, bring your upper arm to the elbow down to the ground. Your fingertips are pointing to the sky. You're going to use the arms a little more deeply here, but I want you to go up, not shift back towards your head. Press down into the feet, lift your pelvis, and now really dig your arm bones down into the ground, including your elbows. And try to puff your chest up a little bit more, squeezing your upper arms inwards, abducting, squeezing them towards the center line, but actually not moving them. That's all an isometric. Push strongly from the feet. Feel that your glutes and your hamstrings are engaging, or all 10 of your toes down and spread. And then come on down. Draw your left knee into your chest. Stretch your right leg out long. Take a long, deep inhale. And a long, deep exhale. Change sides. Right leg comes in. Left leg goes out. Take a long, deep inhale. And a long, deep exhale. Okay, stay with what we just did, or take your blocks. Once you've figured out where your feet are, put your blocks underneath your feet. Yeah. So we just made our legs longer. Stretch your arms down so your fingers are pointing in the same direction as your toes. Push your feet into the blocks like they're the floor and rise on up to your bridge. Stamp down into the block like it's the floor. Try to push your arm bones down. Isometric, so we're not actually moving the arms, but we're pulling the arms energetically towards one another. That may help you lift the chest a little bit more. Work into the legs. Can you imagine really that long lower leg that you've just created? And then can you come to your breath more deeply and make sure that you're still inhaling, pause, and exhaling, pause, and come on down. Move the block slightly out to the sides. Draw your right knee into your chest. Stretch your left leg out long. Good. Draw your left knee into your chest. Stretch your right leg out long. Okay, feel free to do this without the blocks. Bring your feet back to the floor. I'm going to put my feet up on blocks. Now, once you do that, there's a natural tendency to thrust the energy back towards your head. Remember, we're going down into the floor with the arms and the feet and up with the pelvis. Here we go. Press your feet downwards, whether that's on the ground or blocks. Yeah. Now, if you're on blocks, many of you will be able to touch the blocks with your hands. So take your hands to either side of the blocks and press into the blocks. Don't worry about doing that, though. You can also bend your elbows and just squeeze down. That's fine. And then raise your right leg up, pressing the left foot down into the ground. Obviously, if you keep pushing with your right hand against the block, it's going to move. And then release the right leg down. Right foot on the block or the ground. Raise and lift your left leg up. Keep your chest up. Root down. Looking great. Good choices, everyone. Nice. And then bring your left leg down. Reinvent that both leg bridge. Up, 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 up. And then down you come. Take the blocks out. Grab your shins just below your knees with both hands. Separate your legs and bring your legs in towards the chest. It's a very passive bend of your knee. You're not trying to bend your knee really, really deeply with the muscles of the hamstrings. You're pulling with your arms. So we're going to take our femurs, those are our thigh bones, and we're going to circle them. So we're going to bring with our arms, we're going to bring our legs together. And then we're going to shift our legs away from our chest until our elbows go long. And then you're going to use your arms to circle your legs apart, out to the sides, back in toward your chest, and together. Question might arise. Is my lower back supposed to stay still? Nah. Move your legs away from you, elbows long. My lower back just arched a little bit. I'm not that worried. Doesn't hurt. I'm going to take my legs out. I'm really supporting the weight of my legs, which are very, very heavy. Bring my legs around and in. I'm supporting it. I'm using the arms to move the legs. Yep. Move my legs out away from me. Mostly here, I'd like you to keep your neck neutral. Don't tow your chin to the sky. Open your legs out to the sides and around and back in. Let's do 3 in the opposite direction. So pulling your knees to your chest, open your legs out to the sides. They're still in deep flexion. Let those legs come down until your elbows are straight. Your legs are apart now. And then use your arms to squeeze your legs together and pull them back into your chest. So you're making mirror image circles, basically, of your legs around the pelvis. Okay. Good. Put your feet on the ground. Open your feet mat width. Make sure your blocks are not in the way. Feel free to put something under your head. If you have room to open your arms all the way, do so. If you don't, just bring them down a little bit so they're ankled. And then take an inhale breath and slowly let your legs carry your pelvis and your legs to the right. So you're going to roll to the outer right foot and the inner left foot. Turn your head lightly to the left as long as that doesn't bother your neck, and reach out with your left arm as much as you can. If you're limited in space, you can just bend your left elbow, right, with the fingers to the sky and press the elbow lightly downwards. Now, be creative if you're limited in space. And then come on back. Release that left arm, bring the head to neutral. Let the weight of your legs go left. Let them carry your pelvis with you. Turn your head to the right and reach out with the right arm. Again, if you need to bend the right elbow because you're going to bap your right hand into something, do that. Yeah. Good. And then bring your feet back to neutral and your head back to neutral. Okay, so we're going to add something if you'd like. The legs are going to go to the right. I'm going to take my left arm and reach it up by the side of my head, grab that left wrist with my right arm, and I'm going to side bend right. So I'm getting a left side body stretch. I'm pulling my left arm over to the right. Yeah, my left shoulder is not on the ground, but I'm trying to move it closer to the ground as I press my left knee out away from me. Sometimes people feel things along their inner knee, the turned in inner knee here. So just change the angle of that knee a little bit. Come on back, feet on the floor, arms come out, head comes neutral. I'm going to let my legs go left. I'm going to reach my right arm up by my ear, like I'm reaching overhead. Then I'm going to grab that right wrist with my left hand, and I'm going to side bend left. So I'm pulling my right arm over to the left. This will be a side bend in my right rib cage area out of the waist. My right shoulder is not on the ground. I'm not upset about that. But I'm also not trying to roll completely onto my left side body of the ribs. I'm trying to pull that right shoulder blade to the ground a little bit, towards the ground, let's say. Good. And come on back. Okay, we got one more. Legs go to the right. Just do the simple twist here and turn your head to the left if that's what feels better for you. Use your right ankle on the outside of your left leg. Now you got to balance this. Rather than just pulling your left knee to the ground, pull out with your right ankle on your left knee. The back of your left pelvis is going to come further off the ground, but pull against that a little bit. Yeah. And then if you'd like to add a pull of your left arm over to the right, feel free to do that. Excellent. And then come on back, bring your feet flat to the floor, reset your body. Let your legs move to the left. You're rolling to your inner right foot. Use your left ankle on your outer right knee. Pull along that outer right knee, not only towards the ground, but away from your right pelvis. And then sort of balance that, because you can just fall over to the left. Can you kind of pull back with your left hip? If you want, raise that right arm up and pull it over to the left with your left hand. Yep, so you get a little bit of a side bend, back bend, lateral hip. I feel the right inner knee a little bit, so I'm not worried about it. I think it mostly comes from the lack of internal rotation of that right hip of mine. Good. And then release the arms, come on back. Good. All right. Just with your feet on the floor, rock your pelvis side to side. Your legs will move as well, but it's really a pelvic motion. What we did just now was a very big leg action to the side. Now I'm just rocking across the backside of my pelvis to the right and the left. Just kind of loosening it all back up after that deep stretch, bringing it back into play. Okay. Shavasana, please. So set up your Shavasana. If you would like, and I would highly suggest that you put something under your knees, whether that be your 2 blocks or a rolled blanket or a bolster. And that if you have something to cover your eyes, you do that. It's amazing to me. For a year now, I've been using an eye cover when I sleep. My sleep has changed dramatically to the positive. Not that we're going to sleep in Shavasana, although that may happen, but the eyes are very active with the nervous system. And if they see light, they're like, awake, awake. So perhaps soften the senses. Good. And feel yourself. Back body on the floor. Feel yourself perhaps moving again towards that pattern of breathing. That inhale that is full, comfortably full. A pause, an exhale that is comfortably long, and a pause. As your attention continues to rest in your breathing, bring your hands to your abdomen. Notice the movement of your breath as your hands rest on your belly. In moving your hands to your belly, what in the body may have tightened up in expectation of movement? Slowly begin to move your legs, maybe drawing your thighs closer to your chest, maybe not. And gradually rolling onto your side, I'd like you to rest on your side. Bring your arm up under your head, your knees toward your chest. Soften there. And I swear, I think Judith Lassiter wrote this July 13th for me. It certainly applies to me from a year of living your yoga. My words reflect my thoughts. My thoughts reflect my beliefs. And my beliefs run my life. Living your yoga. Today, pay attention to your words, especially those such as should, have to, and you made me. These words reflect your unexamined thoughts. They spring from your beliefs about the world. Just for today, do not speak or think these words. Should, have to, you made me. And see what happens. Bring yourself up into sitting. Draw your palms together at your heart. Bow your head forward. I want to thank you for joining me today, helping me celebrate the amazing life that I have, the amazing health that I have, the community that I have, that we have, the willingness to continue moving our bodies even when there's discomfort or concern. That ability to put our right foot in front of our left foot, even when faced with fear, powerlessness. Inhale, raise, lift your head up, ease your throat, back, neck long, across the shoulders, broad but easy, belly soft. Namaste.